I am late. I'm late. Oopsies. Knowledge. Based. Alright, guys. Fashionably late. We're going to read some more Monero. I wonder if you can make a open source a DIY Noster signer. Is this possible? A DIY open source Noster signer can be built with affordable components like the ESP32 based. No reading, more coding. Shut up, Ryan. First, we're going to do some Monero reading, but I'm learning if I can do an ESP32 based LilyGo T display board, which is designed to work with the open source firmware. The device is intended to use with an LM-Bits Noster signing device project, which provides a low-cost, off-the-shelf solution that operates independently of computers' private key storage. This approach enhances security by ensuring the private keys never reside on a potentially compromised device. Oh, wow! But my program does run, because I saw your last message. You're like, run the program, man. Run the do. I got to go into web server. Hold on. No. LS. C. Server. You can program the ESP32 in Arduino, aka what I program. Oh, nice. So, funny story. I tried learning Arduino a long time ago, and it was a fucking. I didn't go anywhere with it. It was a fucking. I should have stuck to it. So if you do 69 plus. Oh damn! Incorrect operative area dummy. Ooh. Oh yeah, I forgot. I put the word dummy there. I put error, incorrect operator value dummy. See, we should make programs mean again. So we're gonna do plus. We're gonna do 69. I gotta do a comma for some reason. 420 because I tried this without the comma, even though the guide doesn't use a comma. 420. Oh wait. Minus. Plus. Nope. Plus. 69. 420. 489. Based. All right. So we can do it with the based firmware ESP32 board by Lily Go based. But we're gonna go back to Monero. Monero just broke 400, also based. So if you guys been holding the awesome financial replace dummy with retard, I should. Fuck. Now I have to. What was I using? Zed. We're using Zed. We're gonna go because I learned about break lines. This is break lines. Error, incorrect operator, retard. If I ever become if I ever become a developer, I should just replace everything when it's incorrect is with the word retard. Oh, that'd be super. That'd be so funny. Save. Gotta. Oh, there we go. We'll do 4. Error, incorrect operator value, retard. Ugh, fuck. It's awesome. Okay, so we gotta go to GitHub. Monero. It's 0 to Monero. 0 to Monero. But this uses math, Ryan. You have to remember math. And then we'll do what's another project we should make and see? I'm trying to think. I'm thinking. Do. I got heartburn. Dun, 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 dun. All right, hold on. Let's do make a web server. Yeah. Make this would be peak. Look at this. You had a fucking... Okay. This is what's going to give us big brain. Huge brain. Learning C makes you have huge brain. Ryan just knows Arduino. I abandoned Arduino. We are not the same. But before that, we must understand 0 to Monero. No. Forked. Okay. PDF. I've been teaching myself how to use I2C in Arduino. Talked on the chips this week. Nice. Interesting. Let me read on this real quick. Huh. Oh yeah. Well, I built a simple web server in C twice. Nice. Based. I remember my first Arduino board. It was really cool. I got to use like lights and shit, and then if we ever tried to connect an LCD display to Arduino, you've probably noticed it requires a few Arduino pins, even with using a 4-bit model. You still need 7 connections, which takes up about half the Arduino's available I/O pins. A better solution is to use I2C out of display. It only needs 2 pins. They're not even the part of the regular digital I/O pin set. Even better, these pins can be shared with other I2C devices. This makes wiring much simpler, saves you those valuable pins for connecting other sensors and your projects. Oh, nice. Kind of cool. Very based, actually. Very cool. So it's just a more efficient way to have your a more efficient way to save your pens and write code. Cool. Virgin. Okay. Gonna go down. We were on chapter 7. Oh, it talks about binary. My bitch be binary. My bitch be non-binary. My respected girlfriend be non-binary. Chapter 2. Okay, that's not it. We're way farther than that. 60? Chapter 7. Okay. I'm here a little late because I arrived too early, about 10 minutes before you started. The stream didn't start yet. AKA, I'm actually late and you're early. And let's see, notify me is on time. All good things. Notify me on time, me late, you early, pee pee poo poo. And I still haven't gotten fucking XMR chat. Trinary is non-binary. Is that true? I still haven't gotten fucking XMR chat working. Don't know why. I have to. But they did answer me on Twitter, which about a question I had. It was very cool, very based, very nice. Monero 400. So if people want to send me Monero to make me rich, now that it's at an all-time high, they can. XMR chat. XMRchat.com/not a FBI honeypot. Remember, I don't do this for the love and the commitment of free and open source. I do it so that I can make money. All right. Monero readings, then more C. Digital currency, we went over that. The Monero blockchain in the email model, we did that. Simple blockchain, we did that. Difficulty, mining a block. All right, let's get into 7.2.1 of the mining of the block. The output of a cryptographic hash function is uniformly distributed and apparently independent of the input. This means gives a potential input. The hash is equally likely to be every single possible output. Furthermore, it takes a certain amount of compute time to a single hash. Now, when I was listening to Breaking Monero, there's a lot of math involved. For all you math virgins that love math and learning about math, this is actually a great resource to read. But they talk about how ring signatures works. Now, I did get one point wrong that is somewhat outdated information. Zcash doesn't anymore use a zero trust system. It kind of went away from that in about 2022. It still has shielded transactions, which I think that the problem with it is the fact that it's optional. I think sending Monero instead of a US dollar is just encrypting your money. Exchange US dollar to Monero, donate it, and then receive exchange money to US dollar. I actually don't exchange any of my Monero for fiat, and I have not done that since I started buying Monero. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. But the more realistic part is that Zcash moved away from the trusted setup about 2022, which I got wrong in the last stream. I said that they still use this system, which would be incorrect, but they still have shielded transactions. Shielded transactions, in a sense, are not private, and the fact that it's optional is still a weakness of Zcash, and that is my problem with it. And also, it got a bunch of funding and back payroll from BlackRock, which is kind of gay, honestly. And the fact that Edward Snowden was one of the co-founders and funded the project, I believe so, but I don't think he really holds any. I think there's some evidence that he's a more fan of Monero. And my general opinion right now is that unless Zcash does something that Monero cannot do, and be as efficient minus the delisting and the liquidity issue, I will forever probably be in debt to the fact that Monero is efficient and private, and that is probably the best privacy coin in 2025 due to maths and the open source community. You can mine Monero, especially if you're a Gen 2 user. We know that you have Threadripper sitting around because you need to compile all your software, gay, and it also gives you the ability to not only compile your software and heat your house, but make some money on the back end. Okay, Chapter 7, the Monero blockchain. Let's imagine a hash function, HIR, which outputs a number from 1 to 100. Oh, yeah, we read that. Mining speed. This is where we're at, guys. Assume all nodes are mining at the same time, but quit on their current block when they receive a new one from the network. They immediately start mining a fresh block that references the new one. Suppose we collect a bunch B. I use Atheon 2 to compile my software on Gen 2. No need for a Threadripper. Let's see. From 2009, aimed at the budget mid-range market, these CPUs are based on the AMD K10 microarchitecture and manufactured using 45 nanometer to 32 nanometer process technology. Boom! The Atheon 2 family includes a various model 1 to 4 cores operating at a clock speed of ranging 1.6 gigahertz to 3.5 gigahertz. Gay! Let's see what we can get one from eBay. $14. No, thank you. Think about how much faster your Gen 2 compilations would be if you had a $3,000 a $3,600 CPU. And how much faster you do Monero. I use the X4 365. It's a pretty beefy model. Let's see. Ethylene 2 CPU, CPU2, X4, 635. Huh. Oh, 2010. Interesting. So the processor is desktop. It's at end of life, man. You don't even get any more fucking updates. My BIOS thought the correct voltage was 100 millivolts down to what it should be. But your processor is out of microkernel updates, meaning it's insecure. You're running an insecure processor, sir. 4. You only got level 1 cache? Boo! Memory bus do channel? Okay, based. No ECC memory support? Gay! Codenames. Proprius. Ethylene 2. X4 Proprius. Base channel 200 megahertz. That's fine. 2.9 gigahertz. That's fine. Multiple unlocker. Voltage 1.425. 95 watt. Interesting. Assume all the nodes are at the same mining speed. They immediately start mining a fresh block. Suppose we collect a bunch of BREAC blocks from the blockchain, say with index UE1B, which each had a difficulty of DU. For now, assume the nodes who mine them were honest. So each block timestamp, TSU, is accurate. The total time between the earliest block and the most recent block is total time, TSB, minus TS1, and the approximate number of hashes it took to mine all the blocks, total difficulty. Now we can guess how fast the network with all the nodes can compute the hashes. If the actual speed didn't change much while the bunch of blocks was being produced, it should effectively hash speed total difficulty equals time. Planned obsolescence, true. We use EDR to say the output of deterministically random. To say the output is deterministically random, which is kind of like a funny way to say it. In Monero, the only difficulties are recorded compute time since h-pow mn d minus m d greater than m doesn't need t. Agreed. All right, see ya later, Billy. In Monero, only difficulties are recorded compute since mining and verifying are asymmetric since it takes the same time to verify the proofs of work. One computation of the proof of work algorithm, no matter what the difficulty is. Timestamps are determined when the miner starts mining the block, so they're likely to lag behind the actual publication moment. The next block starts mining right away, so the timestamp appears after giving the block indicates how long miners spent on it. If a node 1 tries nonce n equals 23, and later node 2 tries to n equal 23, node 2's effort is wasted because the network already knows n equals 23 doesn't work. Otherwise, node 1 would have published that block. The network's effective hash rate depends on how fast it hashes unique nonsense for a given block message, as well as we'll see, since miners include a miner transaction with one-time address K0 ERZ, ER equals effectively random, and in the blocks are always unique between miners except with negligible probability to try so trying the same nonsense doesn't matter. The Monero blockchain. If we want to set the target timer to mine new blocks, so blocks are produced rate one block at a time, target time, then we calculate how many hashes it should take for the network to spend the amount of time mining. Note we round up so the difficulty never equals 0. New difficulty equals hash speed target time. There is no guarantee that the next block will take a new difficulty amount of total network hashes to mine, but over time, many blocks and consistently recalibrating the difficulty will track with the network's real hash speed, and blocks will tend to take target time. Interesting. Consensus, largest cumulative difficulty. Now we can resolve conflicts between chain forks. By convention, the chain with the highest cumulative difficulty from all blocks in the chain, and therefore when most of the work, network hexes are spent constructing, is considered the real legitimate version. If the chain splits and each fork has the same cumulative difficulty, nodes continue mining on the branch received first. When one branch gets ahead, the others they discard or from the branch, the weaker branch. Something interesting that I was learning about ring signatures in Monero is before the forced mandate of, at the time, 11 ring signatures, it used to be able to be, you could do what you could change the ring signature size if you want. But 1 second, hold that thought. Okay, I'm back. I had to get agua. Agua. I had to get water. Okay, I gotta read some stuff real quick. That's the point of live stream. Okay. Alright, nope, you took a shit? No. That'd be kind of like... I mean, you really don't know, actually, if you think about it. You don't know when someone's taking a big old massive shit that's a streamer. Like, they could just be... They could have a toilet below their seat, and they could just be shitting the entire time. And you'd never know. If I ever, like, worked from home, that's what I would do. I would just be shitting and farting on Zoom calls all day. I'd have no pants below the desk, and I'd just be shitting and farting. Consensus. Large cumulative difficulty. Now we can resolve conflicts between chain forks. By convention, the chain with the highest cumulative difficulty from all blocks in the chain, and therefore, let's do this. Let's highlight it. Okay. We're understanding stuff. We're trying to comprehend with a 3-digit IQ, but I have a 1-digit IQ. Interesting. So network has. Okay, real-time gentleman. If chain splits for each fork has the same cumulative difficulty, nodes continue to mining on the branch they receive first. When other branches get ahead, they discard orphans with the weaker branch. If nodes wish to change, upgrade the basic protocol, i.e. the set of rules of no consistency, when deciding if the block, copy, or new block is legitimate, they may easily do so for way of forking. Whether the new branch any impact user depends on how many nodes switches, how much software infrastructure is modified. For an attacker to convince host nodes and alter transaction histories, perhaps in order to respend and unspent funds, he must create a chain fork of 50%. They can outwork miners. So actually interesting. So I was listening to Breaking Monero, and I kind of had a realization on how it works, like ring signatures. So we're gonna talk about damn, I be reading stuff. We're gonna talk about like in a brief understanding of ring signatures on why they're very cool. A misconception of ring signatures, and it's kind of interesting, is they actually never expose the initial address. So this is what makes Monero very private in a sense. When you listen to fucking retards hear the word ring signature, these ring signatures are faked addresses. These faked addresses doesn't matter because people think like, oh, I can kind of guess these ring signatures are kind of like people hear it and they think in their head because they hear that it fakes about 16 addresses. At the time, it was 11 ring signatures. Now it's 16. Prior to that, you used to be able to make the ring signature size whatever you want. This, from a perspective, would be cool sounding because, oh, we have, like, you could do 1,000,000 addresses or 1,000 addresses. But the issue with that is it makes it unsynonymous. And because it is unsynonymous, this does some form of identification. If someone consistently does like 69 ring signatures, these ring signatures can essentially then be correlated. So if you have everyone uniformic, where they have right now 16 ring signatures, these ring signatures essentially are faked addresses, but is a one-time output address that is put into the blockchain. The blockchain is not, I guess, like the easiest way to explain it, the blockchain doesn't ingrain your actual address for the recipient or for the sender. This is a core fundamental and a core value of Monero, and what makes it really private. A lot of the transactions that are done with Monero are private. It has to have you have to have kind of like really bad OPSEC, and you have to have really bad so essentially you get a you get the benefit of being of making kind of a mistake. You kind of can make tiny mistakes versus like Zcash, where you have to do a lot of nuanced. You have to do it like you can't really make a mistake because Zcash doesn't allow opt-in privacy. This is kind of like the issue with it. Because their shielded transactions are optional. Monero is kind of really private by default each step of the way. There are some optional privacy options that you have, like the view key. If someone gets a hold of your view key and your spend key, they essentially could de-anonymize a lot of the transaction you do, and that could be problematic. But that becomes from that's like me giving you my password to fucking Facebook. And if I give you my password to Facebook, no shit, you can see all my fucking gooning messages I've sent to people. That is going to be an option, and that is going to be also a security issue based on the human element. So, other than that, when you spend your Monero or you purchase stuff, it makes a one-time address output, and no one kind of knows on the blockchain who made this output. This is where ring signatures, this gives you somewhat plausible deniability. We could even put it in our notes. Monero core strengths is the Monero address scheme is private for the sender and the receiver. It fakes 16 transactions on the blockchain. What is your password for Facebook? Type that in the chat. Type your password. My password is bigballs.com. So Monero address scheme is private for the sender and the receiver. It fakes 16 transactions, and then not only that it fakes 16 transactions, it adds. It adds the plausible deniability. That plausible deniability gives Monero its core strength. There are some things with Monero that are problematic and in terms of security and privacy can be broken. This is more to like nice. What do you dream about? Big balls. That can cause some issues if you go through like breaking Monero. They are still somewhat prevalent. And there's some like other nice. What do you dream about? I dream about but some other FUD retards sit there and say that it's essentially based on like the fact that like people can't buy it and people don't accept it. But in reality, I mean, there is some liquidity issues, but Monero is still doing strong. It just broke the the 400 barrier, and that is something to think about. Let's go. Mining in Monero. To make sure the chain forks are on an even footing, we don't sample the most recent blocks for calculating difficulties. Instead, lagging our bunch by a bunch B by L. For example, if there are 29 blocks in the chain, block 1 through 29, B equals 10, and L equals 5, we sample blocks 15 to 24 to complete the block difficulty. If binding nodes are dishonest, they can manipulate timestamps so new difficulties don't match the network's real hash speed. We get around this by starting timestamps chronologically. And then if we assume network hash rate is consistently gradually increasing, then since new difficulties depend on past hashes, i.e. before the hash rate increased a tiny bit, we should expect the actual block times on average be slightly less than the target time. The effect of this on the emission schedule 7.3.1 could be canceled by penalties from increasing the block weights, which we explore in section. So prior to this, again, like yes, using bigger ring signatures created more time. Like oh wow, there's like a ton of ring signatures, so like it's harder to determine where it's coming from. But you have to remember this also increased cost. The more bigger the ring signature, the bigger the fees are. The bigger the fees are, the less like sexy the network works. So like they're trying to figure out how can we make an efficient network that creates a ton of addresses where people are like, oh my god, where's the transaction coming from? But they know where the transaction is coming from, kind of. But not increase the fee cost and the time of validation. And interesting enough, when you listen to Breaking Monero and you kind of like listen to like how it works and like read how it works. You essentially come to the conclusion that this was a bad idea from the get-go. Ring signatures, kind of in general, it's kind of like the best option we have. But on the bad side is now it's forced limitations of 16 ring signatures. This is what FM CPP is supposed to do. And the FMCPP is supposed to add tens of thousands of addresses like you're spending it. Now, what is kind of cool, like what Monero's doing on the background is kind of interesting because it's kind of like people say like it picks 16 random ring signatures, and you can kind of figure out one between 16. You like 1 in 16. You're like, I'm gonna figure this out. When I was listening, how the math works on the box, what it says is what it does is the ring signatures actually are kind of cool. They pick 16 transactions that have happened before, so they could potentially be put in other transactions, and optionally you would want this in the greater schemes, because the greater like scheme of things, because you have now multiple ring signatures that are in multiple transactions. So it's kind of like you pick like, wait, which one do I pick in terms of correlation? Is it perfect? No. Is it going to make you super like gay anonymous? Probably not, because in reality, good OPSEC is it kind of triumphs of all. It kind of trumps the entire ideology of it. If you have good OPSEC, and you maintain your anonymity, and you maintain the core principles and the threat model of Monero, yeah, sure, it's probably the most anonymous cryptocurrency you can get. Smart blockchain. Chopping off the first outliners and the last outliners, we now have the window of blocks. U equals B2, 0 from the previous example. If 0, 3, and the timestamps are honest, then we would chop the blocks 15 to 7, 20, and 22 to 24, leaving blocks 18 to 21 to compute the blocks 30's difficulty form. Monero developers have successfully changed the protocol 11 times, with nearly all users and mining adoptions. Each fork, April 18th, 14, Genesis version, 2016, September 2016, January 7, 2018. Okay. Okay. Before chopping off outliners, we sorted timestamps, but only timestamps block activities are left unsorted. We are segmenting each block. Okay. Using the chopped arrays with sorted timestamps and unsorted segmentabilities index for form 1 W, we define total time chopped sorted timestamps, chopped sorted timestamps, total difficulty chopped. Okay. In Monero, the target time is 126, 2 minute, 120 seconds, 2 minutes. L equals 15, 30 minutes. B equals 720, 1 day. And 060 equals 2 hours. Okay. Narrow talking. Okay. Rule 1: ignore the genesis block 0 with D1. Completely block 1 and 2 have D1. Before chopping outliners, try to get the window W compute to force from. After W blocks, chop off high-low outliners. Scaling amounts chopped until B blocks. If the amount previous blocks is odd, remove it one more outlier high. After B blocks, same early B blocks until B1 blocks are which everything proceed normally large. Okay, the Monero supply. This is super interesting technology. The Monero supply, and then we kind of understand the proof of work. Monero has used a few different proof of work hash algorithms with 32-byte outputs in different protocol versions. The original, known as Kryptonite, was designed to be relatively insufficient on GPU, FPGA, and ASIC architectures compared to the standard hash functions like SHA-256 in April 2018 v7 of the protocol. New blocks were required to being used slightly modified variants of the core countered the advent of Kryptonite's ASICs. Another slight variant named Kryptonite V2 was implemented in October of 2018. The Kryptonite are based on Kryptonite, but with more substantial changes than just a tweak, started being used for new blocks. In March of 2019, a radical new proof work called RandomX was designed and made mandatory for new blocks in November 19 version 12 with the intention of long-term ASIC resistance. So the money supply. There are two basic mechanisms for creating money in the blockchain-based cryptocurrency. First, the currency's creators can conjoin coins and distribute them to people in the Genesis message. This is often called the quote-unquote airdrop. Sometimes creators give themselves a large amount of so-called pre-mine. Second, the currency can be automatically distributed as a reward for mining the block, much like mining for gold. There are two types here. In Bitcoin model, the total possibility supply chain is capped. Block rewards slowly decline to zero after which no more money is ever made. In the inflation model, supply increases indefinitely. Monero is based on a currency known as a Bytecoin that has a sizable pre-mined followed by a block rewards. Monero has no pre-mine as seen. Block rewards slowly decline to a small amount, after which all new blocks rewarded are the same amount, making Monero inflationary. Let's understand what's inflationary economy theory. In the economy of theory, inflation theory of inflation encompasses several key perspectives with the monetaristic view of being one of the most influential. Monetarists argue that inflation is fundamentally a monetary phenomenon arising when money supply grows faster than the rate of growth of national income. This idea encapsulates in the Milton Friedman's assertion that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. You're the best. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love it. Planet Curious. Okay. Phenomenon arising when money supply grows faster than the rate of growth of national income. The idea is encapsulated in Milton Friedman's assertion that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, in the sense that it is and can produce only by a more rapid increase than in the equity of money than output. So output. The Fisher equation, exchange MV equals PY, where M is the money supply and V is the velocity of circulation, P is the price level, and Y is the national output. Underpins this theory. Monetarists assume that velocity and output are relatively stable in the long run, so an increase in the money supply leads to high prices. The demand This demand pull inflation occurs when aggregated demand exceeds aggregation supply and existing price levels, often due to the expansion in the money supply. The Fisher effect. The Fisher effect further explains the normal interest rates adjusted explain inflation. So real interest rates remain stable in the long run if normal rates rise with inflation. However, the relationship between demand and inflation has been questioned, as a modern data shows very flat Phillips curve, indicating little connection between unemployment and inflation. This has led to some economists argue that supply shocks rather than demand shocks are primary derivatives of inflation. I'm wondering if people kind of understand in a perspective of like Monero's economy and why it kind of matters on how they do the tail emissions. Interesting. Okay, so let's think about bit shifts. Okay, block reserve 0. Okay, but block. Okay. Okay, block miners before mining for a nonsense make a miner transaction with no inputs and at least one output. The total output amount is equal to the block rewards plus transaction fees from all the transactions to be included in the block. This is communicated in clear text. Node to receive a mine block must verify the block reward is correct and can calculate the current money supply by summoning all past blocks together. Besides distributing money, block rewards incentivize mining. If there were no block rewards and no other mechanisms, why would anyone mining blocks? True. Besides distributing money to the block rewards, minimizing there are no block rewards and no other mechanisms, why would anyone mine blocks? Perhaps altruism or curiosity. However, a few miners make it easy for malicious actors to assemble 50% of the network's hash rate and easily rewrite recent chain history. This is also why Monero block rewards do not fall in the way to zero. With block rewards competing between miners, drivers' total hash rate up until the marginal cost, and adding more hash rate is higher than marginal rewards, obtaining the proportion of mined blocks, which appears at a constant rate, plus some premiums like risk opportunity cost. This means as a cryptocurrency becomes more valuable in total hash rate, it will increase and become progressively more difficult and expensive to gather. 50%. Okay. Block rewards competition between miners drives total hash rate up until the marginal cost of adding more hash rate is higher than marginal rewards of obtaining petroleum mined. Blocks which appear constant rate plus 50%. A miner transaction can have any number outputs, although currently the core implementation is only able to make one. Moreover, unlike normal transactions, there are no explicit restrictions on miner transaction weight. They are functionally limited by the maximum block weight. An attacker gets higher shares of the hash rate beyond 50%, takes less time to rewrite and older blocks. Given a block R days old, owned by the hash speed V and honest hash speed VH, which will take Y equals R times VH V8 minus H days to rewrite. Now we can look at, real quick, some key fundamentals. Monero, circulating Monero does not have a maximum supply limit. Instead, it features an infinite supply due to continuous tail emission mechanism. The network reached a circulating supply of approximately 18.4 XMR by May of 2022, after which the block reward stabilizes at 0.6 XMR per 2-minute block. This tail emission ensures ongoing market incentives to secure the network, maintaining long-term stability and decentralization, while the inflation rate decreases over time. It remains perpetually positive, approaching zero but never reaching to it. One second, guys. See efforts and transactions, mining. But being ASIC resistant and resistant in general is important. Okay, I'm back. Use Monero's privacy features and made it popular for illicit purposes, which is bullshit. Many online payment platforms shut down for access to white nationalists following the United Alt-Right rally in 2017. Some of including Christopher Cornell and Andrew, whatever the fuck his name is, started using and promoting Monero. This is such a retarded viewpoint, by the way. Fuck you, Wikipedia, for this one. Best known by his persona Weave, is an American computer hacker and professional internet affiliated with the alt-right. He has been described as a neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and anti-Semitic conspiracist. Like, what a fucking retarded viewpoint. Okay. Malware mining, ransomware, blah, blah, blah. We're going to response. We know. But we need to understand pretty much in August 2025, the Monero network experienced a significant security event involving a mining pool cubic, which claimed they have achieved over a 51% the network's hash rate, leading to a 6-block deep reorganization of the blockchain and promoting concerns about potential 51% attack. This event caused major events like Kraken to temporarily halt Monero deposits due to security risk, as it what is a 51% attack? I think these are kind of a 51% attack occurs when a single entity or group gains control more than half of the blockchain's network mining power or hash rate, allowing them to manipulate the network's operations. This majority control enables the attacker to perform actions such as reverse transactions, double spending, and preventing new transactions from being confirmed, blocking other miners from earning rewards, and monopolizing the block creation to capture all miner rewards. Wow, interesting. That is something we obviously do not want, and is unbased and is cringe. Okay. The Monero blockchain bit shifting. Bit shifting is used for calculating the base block reward in section 7333. Interesting. All right, guys. We've read Monero, but tomorrow is C, and I will see you later. Let's see what I did there. I'm a pretty funny guy. I did some pretty funny haha jokes right there. Definitely PC friendly, as in like personal computer friendly. See, another joke. Yeah, you come back for unlimited jokes. Make sure that you argue in the comments for the algorithm, because that's the most important part. I don't care if you subscribe. But liking the video also makes sure that YouTube knows that I haven't smoked crack today, and that's kind of based. We all want to be based and cool, and like and share, and make sure that you also walk your pet goldfish and have a hardware Monero wallet. Be cool, be